Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful for You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Luna's new disruptive opportunity, dominant Beth, Remy's spin-out. The Bold and the Beautiful indicates that Luna Nozawa may encounter a fresh source of conflict, while Beth Spencer becomes domineering on wedding arrangements. Remy Price may potentially have a spin-out forthcoming, so let us discuss what is next. The week of November 3rd to 7th will induce Remy's anxiety following Elector Forrester's revelation of his reprehensible conduct, prompting Deke Sharp to terminate their relationship. As Remy appeals to save his connection, B&B spoilers indicate that additional complications will arise for Deacon Sharp and Sheila Sharp. Beth does not desire Sheila's presence at the wedding ceremony. Deacon may receive information from Hope Logan and subsequently inform Sheila that Beth wants her absence. Positively, Hope and Steffi Forrester Finnegan will succeed in setting aside their long-standing rivalry, at least temporarily. Steffi will express only positive sentiments regarding the resurgence of Hope's line and her forthcoming marriage to Liam Spencer. Between November 10th and 14th, Remy may become unstable if Deke cannot reconcile his actions towards Electra. Luna anticipates updates after Remy's Forrester appearance. He may return to the prison to confess the disaster. Luna might attempt to act as a romantic advisor for Remy, or she may incite him to seek vengeance against Electra for sabotaging his relationship. Regardless of the circumstances, Remy must remember that Luna is incarcerated before he considers her counsel. Rachel Riley will reprise her position as Rachel the bikini bar server. However, this former Big Brother champion will not be serving beverages this time. Rachel will participate in spiritual cleansing sequences with Bill Spencer, Katie Logan, and Liam. Rachel is expected to provide her energy healing services in a hazardous residence, potentially the Spencer Mansion, where Luna recently resided. The week of November 17th to 21st may be the wedding day of Liam and Hope, as preparations appear to be progressing smoothly. Daphne Rose may consult with Carter Walton to ascertain his feelings over Hope's progression. Carter may emphasize his desire for Hope's happiness and endeavor to demonstrate his commitment to a future with Daphne. A significant gesture or two is warranted towards Daphne, as Carter recognizes the necessity of earning her trust. Nonetheless, the autumn preview information has suggested the introduction of a character associated with Daphne's background. Will it be a sibling or even an ex-lover that disrupts Daphne's life? According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, unforeseen twists are imminent for several important characters. Electra's willpower is challenged, and Remy demonstrates his superiority over Luna. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful reveal that Electra Forrester defended both her beloved and herself. She triumphed over Luna Nozawa in their confrontation, as Remy Price informed her at the jail visitation area. Luna was forcibly pushed to the ground and subsequently struck in the face in response to her harassment of Will Spencer, administering high-alcohol content beverages, and deceitfully claiming to be pregnant with his kid. Electra did not manage anything with poise, intentionally alluding to the actor's surname. In a comparison of Remy's actions towards the woman he regarded as his sole friend and Luna, Weissman's character should prevail. Nonetheless, Remy's expectations may be as impractical as Luna indicated during one of her infrequent periods of lucidity. Deepfakes and the era of fabricated reality. Remy's actions towards Electra were abhorrent. Dedicated followers remember that he confessed to producing deepfakes of her and disseminating them online. His irrational rationale sprang from his erroneous conviction that his bond with her would remain intact despite her experiencing public humiliation. Even Luna comprehends Electra's viewpoint, which is quite significant. Yamada's character occasionally exhibits the ability to reason clearly and extend compassion. However, they are insufficient and infrequent to instill genuine optimism that she will stabilize, exhibit sorrow, or achieve redemption in the near future. Remy is not in the same vicinity as Luna, with the baseball reference pertaining to an intriguing World Series featuring B&B's local team, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Luna believed Remy would fail in his endeavor to secure Electra's support due to his asserted transformation into a purported excellent individual. Is there anyone who receives more visitors than Luna Nozawa? Remy was the most recent in a succession of guests Luna has encountered in what seems to be the primary jail of Los Angeles, and his evasion of a lengthy prison sentence necessitated a suspension of disbelief, as Elektra and Will had just briefly addressed the issue months prior. Their dialogue informed the audience and advanced the narrative, thereby enabling Remy to re-emerge in LA and connect with Deke Sharp. Luna's encounter with Remy and Deke's unassuming abode was extraordinary. The door was fortuitously ajar, and she was attempting to evade capture. The evidence supporting the assertion that Remy's promises of reform are tenuous, at best, is reinforced by his association with Luna. Deke instantly saw that Luna posed a threat and advised him to avoid any contact with her. Nonetheless, Remy was conversing in jail with his confidant. Elektra Forrester collaborates with Remy Price? It is conceivable that Elektra may find it within herself to forgive Remy or at least entertain that notion. This may occur if Deke perceives Remy's judgment as unreliable or views him as a hindrance to job advancement at Forrester Creations. Luna is convinced that she will not remain incarcerated to fulfill the entirety of her sentence. No one should dismiss her prophecies considering all that has transpired thus far. Elektra's disclosures appall Deke. Will confronts Remy. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for Monday, November 3rd, indicate that Elektra Forrester's disclosures will appall Deke Sharp. Spencer will confront Remy Price as the situation escalates in the Forrester showroom. All that Deke desired was to showcase his new boyfriend. Deke intended to invite Remy to his welcome party at Forrester Creations to introduce him to those who have won his affection. Rather than informing Deke of the impending chaos, Remy allowed him to be caught off guard. Deke is contemplating why others appear so distressed over Remy becoming his partner. Elektra will inform Deke about the deep-fake images produced by Remy and how he caused her distress solely to position himself as her source of solace. It was perverse and disturbing, hence Deke will undoubtedly be unsettled as well. Remy accompanied Elektra to Los Angeles and once more exhibited his obsessive behavior. The events culminated in a dramatic conclusion when Remy pursued Elektra, resulting in a confrontation with Will. Regarding Will, he will publicly denounce Remy and unequivocally indicate that he is unwelcome at Forrester Creations. Ivy Forrester will undoubtedly concur, as she is aware of the dreadful ordeal Elektra endured because to Remy. Following Remy's request for a private conversation with Deke, they will confront each other with Elektra's unsettling revelations. Remy desires to start anew and fully engage in the passion they have discovered, although it may not be as uncomplicated for Deke. This is particularly accurate given that Remy has already encountered criticism due to his association with Luna Nozawa. Deke remains oblivious of Remy's continued clandestine meetings with Luna, rendering the situation chaotic. Sheila Sharp will pledge commitments to Deacon Sharp and anticipate the complete restoration of their relationship, according to B&B spoilers. With the impending wedding of Hope Logan and Liam Spencer, Sheila will receive updates and determine that this presents an excellent opportunity to engage in an activity as a couple with Deacon. According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, Sheila's schemes may be thwarted in the upcoming episodes as Beth Spencer will likely oppose her presence at the wedding. In the tangled, sun-soaked world of Los Angeles, where every whispered rumor can topple empires and every impulsive kiss can blow apart marriages that were supposed to last forever, The Bold and the Beautiful surges into another explosive chapter of chaos, scheming, heartbreak, and unexpected redemption as Luna Nozawa, still locked away behind the cold steel bars of the Los Angeles County Women's Facility, senses the wind shifting and feels a twisted, powerful thrill as a whole new troublemaker opportunity begins to unfold, not because she has any real freedom, not because she's reformed, and certainly not because she's accepted responsibility for stalking Will Spencer, manipulating him with dangerously high alcohol drinks, or her delusional, deceitful pregnancy claims, but because trouble always finds Luna, and she knows how to weaponize her own infamy even from a jail cell. Meanwhile Beth Spencer, usually the adorable, sweet-faced symbol of Hope Logan and Liam Spencer's ability to co-parent through storms, suddenly reveals a Bossier, more commanding side as she seizes total control of Hope and Liam's upcoming wedding, making decisions about guest lists, flower arrangements, seating charts, and ceremony scripts with the ferocity of a tiny Forrester CEO in training. But her sudden boldness becomes a crisis when she declares with authoritative certainty that Sheila Sharp will not be allowed anywhere near the ceremony, sparking fresh heartbreak for Sheila, who had been clinging to the fragile hope that she might finally attend a joyful family event alongside Deacon Sharp as his legitimate wife. All the while, Remy Price, spiraling from one disaster into the next like a comet that was always destined to burn up in the atmosphere, faces a catastrophic spin-out after Electra Forrester spills the full truth of his disgraceful past, how he created deepfake images of her and posted them online to humiliate her, how he stalked her across state lines, how he sabotaged her peace under the delusion that destroying her dignity would somehow keep their connection alive, and how he chased after her in Los Angeles like a man possessed, leading to the explosive confrontation with Will Spencer in the Forrester showroom, and all of it hits Deke Sharp like a devastating tidal wave, because all he wanted was to bring his new boyfriend to his workplace, introduce him with pride, and maybe, just maybe, believe he had found someone who would love him without chaos, without drama, without violence. But instead he walked straight into a public reckoning as Electra, her voice trembling but strong, detailed every horrific manipulation Remy ever inflicted on her, even as Will Spencer stepped forward to deliver his own verbal beatdown, blasting Remy for being a stalker, a creep, and a disaster who had no business being at Forrester Creations. Ivy Forrester joined in too, her voice sharpened by her memories of Electra's anguish, and soon the whole room turned on Remy, leaving Deke horrified that the man he brought into his life was even more toxic than the rumors he had already heard about Remy's involvement with Luna, because while everyone knew Luna had spiraled violently, stalking, manipulating, staging escapes, assaulting Electra, punching her in that explosive jailhouse fight, and plunging deeper into mental chaos, Deke had convinced himself that Remy was different, that Remy had been victimized by Luna's manipulations rather than acting as one of her willing, scheming, damage-spreading allies. But now the truth had crashed down on him, and the betrayal stung in ways he didn't want to admit, because even as he confronted Remy privately afterward, Remy pleaded again and again that he had changed, that he'd had a metamorphosis, that Electra was his past and Deke was his future. But the desperation in his voice gave away the truth. He was still the same unstable, validation-starved man he had always been, still visiting Luna in jail behind Deke's back, still taking emotional cues from a woman whose grasp on reality was threadbare at best, still ignoring the warnings from Deke, from Electra, from Will, from literally everyone with functioning judgment. Meanwhile Luna herself was buzzing with a manic sense of opportunity, because Remy was coming to her again, telling her everything, seeking counsel as if she were a brilliant strategist rather than a woman whose life had imploded into a mess of criminal charges, psychiatric evaluations, and violent outbursts. And Luna saw something she hadn't expected, a chance to stir the pot, to manipulate Remy into escalating, perhaps even getting revenge on Electra, because Luna, despite her few fleeting moments of clarity, had never learned how to let go of grudges, never learned how to take accountability, never learned how to choose peace instead of war, and she enjoyed his panic. She enjoyed hearing that Electra had won in that explosive confrontation. She enjoyed knowing Remy was humiliated, because Luna's deepest addiction was not substances or romance or even Will Spencer, it was chaos, pure and simple, the kind of chaos she could spread like wildfire even from the confines of a prison visitation room. Yet Remy, blinded by emotion and guilt, seemed to be forgetting that Luna was dangerous, Luna was manipulative, Luna had nearly destroyed his life once before, and following her advice again could lead to his total self-destruction. And while this entire emotional cyclone is ripping through Los Angeles, a shock cameo shakes up another storyline entirely as Rachel Riley returns, not to serve margaritas at the bikini bar as she did in the past, but to perform energy healing ceremonies for Bill Spencer, Katie Logan, and Liam Spencer, all of whom are dealing with toxic emotional buildup in a house that has seen too much grief, too many fights, too many lies, too many secrets, and may very well still carry the psychic residue of Luna's previous presence there, as Bill himself calls Rachel in to cleanse the spiritual energy before the upcoming wedding, hoping it will clear the tension surrounding Hope and Liam as they prepare to walk down the aisle again. Carter Walton, meanwhile, remains steady and graceful in his new romance with Daphne Rose, even as Daphne privately frets over whether his heart still aches for Hope or whether Hope's new engagement stirs old feelings, but Carter reassures her, promising that he is committed, that he supports Hope and Liam's wedding wholeheartedly, and he begins planning gestures of devotion to help Daphne believe in him again, yet the fall preview hints that someone from Daphne's past is about to emerge. Someone who could shatter all of Carter's newfound peace. Someone who could threaten the happiness he's finally starting to build. And as the week of November 17th to 21st approaches, Hope and Liam's wedding races forward with Beth acting as an unexpectedly controlling little planner, barking orders, vetoing decorations, and refusing to even hear the name Sheila Sharp, insisting her grandmother figure is too dangerous, too unpredictable, too strange to be trusted near a family event, while Hope tries to gently explain to her daughter that grown-ups have complicated relationships and sometimes people change, but Beth is not having it, and her ultimatum lands like a punch to Sheila's chest when Deacon breaks the news, leaving Sheila trying to hide the tears in her eyes as she insists to Deacon she understands, she won't interfere, she won't ruin Hope's big day, she just wants a chance someday to exist in a family where she isn't treated like a monster. Yet Sheila's resolve begins to crack as she watches Deacon himself start to doubt Remy, his betrayal, his chaos, his connection to Luna, and she fears that if Deacon's trust in Remy shatters completely, the fallout could drag them all back into darkness. But perhaps the most disturbing emotional arc belongs to Electra, who after winning her physical showdown with Luna, after hearing will defend her, after watching Remy implode, begins to consider, dangerously, that maybe Remy could change. Maybe forgiveness isn't impossible, maybe she can rebuild his humanity the way she has rebuilt her own confidence, but that possibility hangs by a thread because Deke, horrified by the revelations, now questions whether Remy's presence could damage his career, his reputation, and his fragile relationship with Sheila. Meanwhile, Luna sits back in her jail cell, smirking like a puppet master, convinced she will not serve the full length of her sentence, convinced she will manipulate someone, Remy, Poppy Nozawa, Will Spencer, a sympathetic guard, to create her next escape or her next act of vengeance. And as the previews tease Daphne's mysterious past, Sheila's heartbreak over Beth's ultimatum, Remy's emotional tailspin, Electra's crisis of heart, Deke's disillusionment, and Luna's chilling confidence in her own inevitable freedom, The Bold and the Beautiful prepares to unleash one of its most twisted, multi-layered chapters yet, a storm of redemption battles, spiraling obsessions, relationship implosions, and shocking returns as every character braces for the fallout of choices they can no longer outrun. And as Luna Nozawa lay awake in her narrow jail bunk that night, staring at the cracked ceiling with a mix of arrogance and simmering rage, she replayed every detail of Remy's latest visit, not because she cared about him romantically or even platonically, but because he was a tool, a chess piece, a desperate soul who would do anything for validation, and Luna knew how to twist desperation into strategy. She had seen it with Will Spencer, she had seen it with Poppy, with Lee, with every guard she'd manipulated, and now, with Remy unraveling, she sensed a chance to push back against the world that had humiliated her, a world Electra Forrester now commanded with growing confidence after defeating her in that brutal scuffle that left Luna dazed on the ground, clutching her face, not because the punch was so devastating but because Electra's victory shattered Luna's inflated ego in a way no judge or jury ever had, and yet, even in defeat, Luna's mind burned with the determination to rise again, to reclaim some twisted sense of relevance, even as everyone in Los Angeles moved on without her. But outside the walls of the prison, the rest of the city was spiraling into another kind of chaos as Hope Logan tried to juggle Beth's increasingly bossy micromanagement of the wedding with her own anxiety that her daughter's strong opinions were more than just assertive enthusiasm. Hope saw the echoes of a Logan woman emerging, a fierce need to control the narrative, to shape her world, to command her destiny. But Beth's fixation on excluding Sheila Sharp from the wedding was becoming a battleground that neither Hope nor Liam could fully navigate, because Beth, for reasons she refused to articulate, felt unsafe around Sheila, as if some instinctive alarm sounded every time Sheila's name came up, and though Beth couldn't explain it, everyone around her could feel the tension building like a storm front over the ceremony. Meanwhile, Sheila herself was spiraling into a different kind of heartbreak as she sat at the small kitchen table in the Sharp apartment, staring down at a teacup she wasn't actually drinking from, the steam rising and disappearing just like the dreams she had been clutching so tightly, her knuckles white as she imagined the wedding she would never attend, the family she would never join, the daughter-in-law she would never see walk down the aisle, and though Deacon sat across from her, gently insisting that Beth was just a child trying to process the complexities of their unique family. Sheila could feel the rejection cutting through her like one of the dozens of slashes fate had delivered her over the years, another door shut, another reminder that despite her efforts, despite her commitment to Deacon, despite her attempts at stability, she would always be the outsider. Yet Deacon had his own crisis brewing.